I'm doing well, thank you.
Hey, I just sent you the notes. I know it last minute. I forgot earlier.
I appreciate it. I have it, Mr. Howard. Thank you.
All right.
The 20th of February.
Okay.
Okay.
AP reset date. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite 2 o'clock. We'll get started as soon as courtroom two comes on with us and everyone else.
Did you get your add-on calendar?
I did, yes,
Oh,
thank you.
all right.
May I speak?
Yes, ma'am.
When is it appropriate for me to say something? Before?
Are you here for a particular case, Ms.
Yes.
Maynard? Okay, so are you a victim in a case?
I'm listed as the victim, yes.
Okay, so when that case comes before me, if you would like to address the court at that time, I will acknowledge you at that time, okay?
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Can you tell me who you're here for so I can make a note of it?
My daughter, Alexandra Fauvel.
Say the last name again for me.
Fauvel with an F. F's in Frank. A V is in Victor, E-L-L. Fauvel.
It's on the add-on calendar. You're on a position number.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make a note that you're here. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna mute.
Hello, Your Honor.
Yes, who's speaking?
Patricia James.
Yes, good afternoon, Miss James. How may I help you?
Yes, there was no communication, unfortunately, and I'm just wondering, is this the Carrington James and Patricia James case on this today?
Ma'am, I was just sending you a message. That case was transferred to the DA's office for felony prosecution, and their calendar is just a different calendar. This is not the felony calendar.
I understand, but they said that this was the one that was going to see if Carrington was able to testify or something like that.
He's not on our calendar today.
At
I
all?
can try to, no, but I can, if you send me your number in the chat and I'll see what I can find out. We'll get you connected. I
Okay,
have your
thank you.
email. I apologize.
Thank you.
Let's see. I don't see courtroom two on. I do see ACDC. Is there somebody there at ACDC that is ready to go?
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Officer Milton.
Uh,
Thank you. I I see that we have you all on, but courtroom 2 is not on with us as of yet. Who do you have there before us?
Ms. Ayala,
Ayala, Ayala?
yes.
Okay, Ms. Ayala's on the add-on calendar on position number 1. Good afternoon, Mr. Ayala. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the state court expedited accusation calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We're providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Ms. Kim, are you representing Ms. Ayala this afternoon?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Kim. Ms. Ayala, you have been charged in case 25 CR 0000690E with battery, family violence, criminal trespass, and simple battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
8th arrest, got an open ag assault, 24 PI 007781. That's it.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Allen. Is this your case?
This is, Your Honor. Good afternoon. This young lady was also on felony first appearance for an aggravated assault in 25 PI 000964 and a felony criminal damage to property against the same victim that you're about to hear about in 25 PI 000965. The open aggravated assault case that you just heard about from pretrial is against the same victim, Mr. Michael Morrell. It is from October, and the defendant is charged with stabbing him multiple times in September of 2024. The case in front of you today predates that case. It was an incident in August 2024. So it looks like when Mrs. Ayala was arrested in the last 48 hours, these 3 cases and their warrants popped up. On August the 31st, 2024, police were called to 125 Milton Avenue at 10 a.m. There they met with the victim, in this case, Mr. Michael Morrell, Morrell. They used to live together. He reported that while he was there at the location with his current girlfriend, Mrs. Shantavia Gamble, the defendant showed up, was irate, asked to use the restroom. He let her in to use the restroom. And then she started arguing with him, assaulted Mrs. Gamble by pushing her in the face. When Mr. Morrell got between these 2 women, the defendant then bit him on the chest, leaving an obvious bite mark. She took a knife, tried to get into the bathroom where Mrs. Gamble was, and she damaged the bedroom mattress with that knife before fleeing the location. Police arrived. They spoke to the victim and his mother. They spoke to Mrs. Gamble by phone. She had to leave and go to work, but this information was corroborated. Pictures of the damaged mattress and pictures of the injury were shown to police. It's reported that the defendant's mother came and took her away from the location. We are asking for a $6,000 surety, Your Honor. That's $2,000 on each count. No contact with either Mr. Michael Morrell or Mrs. Shantavia Gamble, and to stay away from 125 Milton Avenue Southeast. We'd also ask for an order to include no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd like a mental health evaluation.
Ms. Allen, I want to make sure that I have this right. I believe you said that this case was 965. On my calendar, it's 609. I just want to make sure I have that we have the right number.
You do have the right number. The incident is August the 31st. I was making reference to the 3 open felony cases.
Okay, all right,
that
thank you.
this young woman has. So she was out on bond when she was picked up on these warrants, and that bond is from an October stabbing of the same victim. She was picked up on this battery, criminal trespass, simple battery, today, as well as a criminal damage to property that was in felony court on the same victim, and a new aggravated assault against a new person. So she was on first appearance today as well. She's got 3 open felony cases in addition to this one.
Thank you. If Mr. Michael Morrell is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Ms. Kim?
Yes, my client is 38 years old. She was born in New York, but she has been here in Georgia for the last 4 years. She was a banker. However, nowadays she's working as a self-employed cleaner. She does have a bachelor's degree from TCI College, Business Accounting. And Your Honor, she denies the allegation. Indeed, she claims that she was a victim of the incident, and she was the one who actually got slammed. Her body was slammed, her toes were broken, and she has a bruise on her arms. Right now, her mother is helping her to basically situated in terms of this domestic violence situation. And Your Honor, they broke up, and that place is actually her place. So she is trying to file the eviction, and he should be moving out, and he's not on the lease. And we would like to be able to return after a visit with a law enforcement officer to verify that he is not there. So we would like to request for signature on bond, pretrial level 3. Thank you.
Okay, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 good bond. For the criminal trespass, a $500 good bond. For the simple battery, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Mr. Morrell. Stay away from the incident location. She can go back to that location on one occasion with law enforcement. If Mr. Morrell is there, she'll have to retrieve any belongings and find someplace else to reside. If Mr. Morrell is not there, then she may reside at that location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
And Your Honor, just to clarify, Ms. Kim, are you referring to the 125 address?
Hold on,
Because
please.
these incidences, the incident we're here today is from September or August. She's on bond for a September stabbing of this gentleman. And her address listed in the jailing is 4140 Morning Trail in South Fulton, not this address.
Right now, I believe she resides at 325 Centennial Olympic Park. Let me just double check with her.
That is not the address of this location. So she
Okay.
doesn't need a one-time escort. We're talking about 125 Milton Avenue Southeast. Perhaps you're talking about her aggravated assault against a gentleman named Dwight Reese that just occurred on February the 5th that she was in felony court for today.
So, Miss Ayala, would you please verify your current address?
4140
So that's not the address where this incident occurred when
no problem.
where Mr. Michael
Okay.
Morrell lives.
Okay,
She doesn't need a one-time escort.
okay, no problem.
Okay, good luck to you, ma'am. Who do we have next? Are we ready in courtroom 2?
All right, Judge, we have the buying over and the FTA.
FTA, y'all doing them now?
That's what they said, Howard.
Wow.
We got an email said we had to pull them.
I got the bind over. I ain't hear nothing about no FTA though.
All right, what the buying over do you have?
Just
So why
about
don't we, let's just deal with our calendar, and if we get to them, we'll get to them, and you let me know what they are, okay? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation calendar that we are conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. If you do not have a private attorney representing you, we are providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. And for all of everyone that's on this Zoom call, especially whoever is DW, please note that DW, you are in a court session. I need for you to stand still or go off camera for me. This is a court session, so I don't need you walking around, driving a car, or doing anything aside from listening and waiting for the case that you're here for to come before me. Okay, thank you all. Who do we have in courtroom 2?
Position 1.
Mr. Britton, good afternoon, Mr. Britton. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000572F with simple battery. Is there a history?
Second adult arrest. Got an open ag assault, armed robbery, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. 23 SC 187875. Bench warrant out of Judge Cross.
Thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from January the 31st, 2025. It's an incident at Rice Street. The victim is James Turner. This defendant and his co-defendant who came through first appearance yesterday, Ward, last name, as well as Rashad West, struck the victim at the jail, Mr. James Turner, multiple times inside the cell that they shared. He was able to escape. They continued to assault him, and at one point, a knife was used to stab him. So this defendant is charged with striking the victim, Mr. James Turner, during this assault at the jail. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, no further violent contact with James Turner or anyone else at the Fulton County Jail, and obviously no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Mr. McLean, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I do recognize the name Ward. I believe we entered a waiver of presence for him the other day. So this was a conflict not caught.
Okay, do we have a conflict attorney that will be joining us today? Ms. Grace, do we know?
No, sir, but I'll reach out to Ms. McLeod.
Okay, thank you. Let's see if we can go to someone else so that we can see if we can get Mr. Britton represented by Ms. McLeod. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, add-on number 2.
And Your Honor, Mr. Britton was on our calendar yesterday, and he was reset because of a transportation issue, and Ms. McLeod was here, and she knows it was reset.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Ms. Allen.
Of course.
And just to make note on Ms. Farvell, her mom, Ms. Maynard, is here with us as well. Good afternoon, Ms. Farvell. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000608E with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
What's next?
It's first arrest, I'm understanding, Farvell.
Yes, that's what I have. State.
You said while I'm still in.
Okay. Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. So this is an incident from, February the 5th at about 9 a.m. Police in Roswell were called to 1403 Harbor Landing. The victims in this case are Derek Maynard and mom, who is here on the Zoom, Karen Maynard. Police were called based on a MH episode. On scene, the defendant spoke to the police. Mrs. Karen and brother Derek had left the scene. They returned to the scene in a vehicle while police were there. Derek reported that his sister accused him of stealing his mail, got into an argument with him, and started pushing him in the chest. Mrs. Karen Maynard, mom, intervened and assisted the brother in leaving out the back exit of the apartment. She came back inside, Karen did, and the defendant, Mrs. Alexandra, then began focusing her attention on mom. She argued with mom and then shoved her down on the couch. Derek had returned inside because he heard screaming. He saw the defendant shove mom back down on the couch, and he got between the two of them and deployed some pepper spray. When the situation was settled, The mom and the brother reported that there's an ongoing MH issue and they believe that there's a medication issue, that the defendant had blocked mom from leaving the door after shoving her, and that's when brother Derek deployed pepper spray. We've spoken to Mrs. Karen this morning, Mrs. Karen Maynard. She reports that the defendant is her daughter and that she's refusing to be treated. I believe they had arranged for her to go to Peachford. So we're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, no violent contact, mental health evaluation, and to comply with any treatment and to follow recommendations or be medication compliant, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. If you'd call for Mrs. Maynard. I understand that she, like many people, did not think her daughter was going to be arrested when she called the police, but clearly there's a crisis going on and the police were needed to intervene. And so here we are.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Maynard, if you'd like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I'll need for you to, if you would like to address the court, unmute yourself and I'll have to swear you in.
Yes, I would. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, if you'll raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Nothing but the truth.
Okay, you can place your hand down, Ms. Maynard. Let me first just let you know that this is live on YouTube. I'm happy to hear what you have to say, but I don't want to place any of your daughter's either medical or mental information on this platform. But if you'd like to tell me something more than what Ms. Allen has told me in that regard, just note that, okay?
Yes.
Okay, what would you like to tell the court?
My daughter is currently receiving psychiatric care. Medications are not right, so she has been compliant in that aspect. I have contacted the psychiatrist when I realized she needed an increase. I have a background in mental health nursing, and so there's been some incidences, agitation, and when I see some psychotic episodes at home. So I have growing concerns for lack of functioning. I've been trying to help her get on some benefits and have her stabilize. She has been resisting inpatient care. So yesterday when the crisis happened, she wasn't trying to hurt me. She's never tried to hurt me. She was extremely agitated and I got very close to her to keep her from keeping her brother from the house at that point in time, and that is how I got pushed. I was not hurt. The police officers didn't inquire as to whether or not I even had any injuries. I did land on the sofa, and while that was very scary, I'm not even sure she probably has any recollection of doing it. She was in such a state of agitation at the time. And I called 911. I called for crisis intervention and asked the police officers to instead help me facilitate an inpatient transfer. They did. They were really wonderful, and they did spend quite a bit of time, and they did take her to the emergency room. It was a non-behavioral health hospital, and I don't believe that they gave an adequate evaluation, because one of the 1013 criteria is if you are a threat to others or have an act of trying to hurt somebody else, that should meet the criteria. I sent her with her medications. I spoke to the behavioral health nurse, and the doctor was hesitant to take away her rights. It's, the integrity of that you have to respect. And at this point, I would ask the court to not release her on bond and allow me to transfer her to Peachford and get an agreement that she'll go inpatient treatment. I currently just got her back on insurance, and she's had this illness since she was 14, and she's a great girl. She's a patient care tech, and it's been a very sad illness for her. She actually finished her last 2 years of high school in a therapeutic hospital in New York. And she's had a lot of challenges over the years. She doesn't use drugs, and she has no criminal history whatsoever. There's never been a violent episode at home before. There's been periods of psychosis and agitation, yes. And medications do need to be adjusted at this point. And that's my position.
Should be down here this afternoon, Miss Maynard. Mr. McLean?
How quickly would the inpatient be, I wonder?
She has to agree to go, but I'm assuming under the circumstances with insurance intact that Peachford or Riverview would take her. You know, she's on 3 psychotropic medications. One of the antipsychotics is very low, and this is probably not a huge medication adjustment for her. Some structure, and even if they had a transitional program, that would be even better. Obviously, there's some friction here now with her brother having to fear so much that he would use pepper spray. But there's no
Okay.
weapon in the house, and I think that I'm hoping that she'll agree if the court stips that this is a necessary part of how the court's going to deal with this and look at these charges, that she'll be willing to do this.
So today's Thursday, they take her tomorrow?
I don't know. Nobody in my family's ever been in jail, so I don't know like what the process is. You guys releasing her now that she's there, I would take her immediately. I'm sure that Peachford I was going to make some calls when I was done with work. I work remote. And see, but I'm sure that they have a crisis intake there.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, whatever the court feels is appropriate, I have no objection to the signature bond part of it. I defer to the discretion of the court, certainly, and I don't have an argument for or against what is essentially judicial economy separate evaluation, because I think there's probably already a pretty fresh evaluation, or there's one about to happen at Peachford. Thank you.
Okay, so for each charge, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. She's to have no further violent contact with either Derek or Karen Maynard. She is to be released to her mother, Karen Maynard, for transfer to Peachford Hospital. No, she is to stay medication compliant and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Ms. Maynard, if you cannot get her into Peachford in a timely manner, this case will, Mr. McLean, this should come back before me or whoever is the judge at the time to see for a modification. But I'm hoping that that she can be transferred relatively quickly.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, position.
So Mr. McLean, can you get Ms. Maynard the information that she needs, or Ms. Allen have someone from your office get the information to Ms. Maynard?
I've got Miss Maynard's phone number given to me by my client and can call her right after.
Okay, someone will be in touch with you, Ms. Maynard. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, who do we have next?
Position 18.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Wilson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000605J with simple battery and battery. Is there a history?
What's the name, Judge?
It's position 18, Kelsey Wilson.
I got first.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. That's what I have as well. This is an incident from February the 5th at about 6 p.m. Police were called to 605 Fern Brooks Drive Southwest. There they met with multiple people who live at the address. The 911 call came in where a woman was saying that 3 of her children were being assaulted and that the defendant in front of you had a firearm. She also reported during that 911 call that the youngest child in the house was 4 months old. She reported that the defendant lives a few houses down from that location. On scene, Elijah Eves, a juvenile, I believe about 11 years old, reported that the defendant came into the location saying that she'd left a hat there or a ski mask there, started to push and shove, force her way into a bedroom looking for her items, at which point she was seen assaulting and pushing that juvenile Elijah. 15-year-old Brianna, sister, stepped in, and at that point she was struck repeatedly by the defendant, and she had visible scratches on her face as a result. I am not clear about whether or not a firearm was recovered, Your Honor. We're asking for a $4,000 SOB through pretrial, no contact with anyone there at 605 Fernbrooks Drive. Stay away from that location. And I believe this young lady is 17 years old. So we would ask for a curfew if she's in school, for her to be attending school regularly, a parental cosigner, and obviously no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. McLean?
The mother should be on already. Is she on?
Yes, I'm on.
Very
Yes, I'm
good.
on. Mm-hmm.
If she's willing to be the parental cosigner, we'll get her the link for that. Your Honor, no objection to the signature bond idea and the cosigner idea.
Okay.
Can I say anything?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just coming to you now. So if you just hold on for me 1 second, can you raise your right hand for me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Tell me your full name, ma'am.
Denise Wilson.
Yes, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I would like to tell the court, Kelsey has no problems. Kelsey is good in school. Kelsey is in the band. She has been in the band since her freshman year. Kelsey is a sergeant in the junior ROTC program. She has been in that program since her freshman year. Kelsey has not had any issues in school. Kelsey has been friends with these kids for years. We've been living in that neighborhood for going on 5 years.
So, Your
Kelsey
Honor,
has
I'm gonna object at this point. This is the defendant's mother, and she's not a witness, and so I'd rather
I
her
am a witness. I
testimony
am a witness.
be not
I am a
listed in any
witness.
documents I have, Your Honor, and I'd rather her testimony be about her daughter and the issues with bond.
Well, you've
Okay.
requested that she, listen to me. You've requested that she have a curfew and things of that nature. So I'm going to listen to her mom to tell me what type of individual this young lady is. So
And that's exactly what I said that
determine
is appropriate. But what she
Mhm.
started to talk about was how she's known these individuals, and she's going to start talking about this incident and victims who are not here.
Okay.
Okay.
She's
Okay. Well,
not
I won't.
listed in this-
Okay.
this
Well,
letter.
I won't talk about them. But
Thank you.
Kelsey has not ever given me any problems. Kelsey has the neighbors and I'm just giving her her character in the neighborhood. Kelsey, everyone in the neighborhood knows Kelsey. Kelsey rides her bike through the neighborhood every day. She's very athletic because she played basketball. Kelsey, I'm telling you, this is not Kelsey at all. It's not her character. I feel like she does not deserve a bond like that. I don't have the money right now. I'm out on injury from work.
Okay, Miss Wilson, they're not asking
She
for, Miss
she
Wilson,
will be
listen
a
to me,
uh-huh.
listen to me, Miss Wilson.
Okay.
They're requesting a signature bond, okay? It's not that you won't have to pay anything, okay?
Okay. Okay.
All right, so you don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
All right, so I understand that, what grade is your daughter in?
She's a junior. She's a
Okay.
junior, and Kelsey has been excellent.
Okay, and we understand that this is the first time that anything
Yeah.
like this has, so I'm gonna release her to you, okay?
Okay.
She's gonna get a signature bond. It's gonna be a $2,000 signature bond per charge, which makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Okay.
She is to be released to you, Denise Wilson. Is that spelled Denise?
Yes.
Wilson, Wilson?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna give you, Mr. McLean will get you the forms or the information so that you can have your daughter released to you. I want
Okay.
she's to have no further contact with either of these alleged victims. And no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond,
That's
okay?
fine. Yeah.
And she's to stay in school,
And
okay?
okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And
All right,
may I make one inquiry, please?
yes, Miss Allen.
Was your other child, Tiaja Scott, present during this altercation? Is she 29 and present at the location when this happened?
Yes, my 29-year-old was present, and also my 20-year-old was present because when they jumped on Kelsey, Kelsey called her sisters to come help her because when the mother came home, pulled a gun out on Kelsey. And so my other two older daughters were there. And so then I had to come down and be on the scene. But my older two daughters came to Kelsey's rescue because the mother pulled a gun out on Kelsey, and Kelsey ran up out the house. She escaped up out of their home. And
So
she called her
just to
sisters.
clarify, your daughter was inside the residence of these people?
No. Yeah. Kelsey was inside the residence. Like I said, they're friends.
Okay. And
Well, they were.
and her adult sisters came to her aid, and then you came to her aid.
Yeah.
Okay. Your Honor, the case in front of you deals with injuries that required medical assistance to a 15-year-old and an 11-year-old child in that residence. Clearly, there's information we don't have about the facts of this case, but just for argument's sake, this is an incident that occurred at a home that was not the defendant. She was inside someone else's home, and she's not injured. And so there's some concerns here, but it sounds
but they let her in the home. They let her in the home because they're friends, and they jumped to her inside their home.
Miss Wilson, hold on. We're not gonna litigate this today, okay? This is just a bond
Okay.
hearing.
Yeah, I'm getting a lawyer. Yeah, that's fine.
You'll have an opportunity to litigate this
Okay.
as we go
I
forward,
will.
okay?
What
So
I was going to say is that we will leave the rest in your discretion, Your Honor. I just wanted to be clear. There are a lot of facts that we clearly don't have in front of us. And our attempts to get in touch with the victims today have not been successful, but it might be because there's a medical injury as a result of this.
okay.
It was a scratch. It wasn't a medical. It was a
Okay,
scratch.
we're not gonna litigate that today. Okay, so that's my bond pronouncement. Good luck to you all.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll be to get around. Okay, thank you.
Yes,
So-
Mr. McLean will be in touch with you. Mr. McLean?
I'll call 990 number as soon as court's over with and get that link for the form to be filled out.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Let's see. I saw Miss McLeod back on the line. Can we go back to her client since she's here? Is that who we have there in courtroom 2?
Yes.
Okay, and this is Mr. Britton, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yes. Good afternoon, again, Mr. Britton. Good afternoon, Miss McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
It's my understanding that I wasn't here yesterday, but that this case was on yesterday or something of that. Have you had the opportunity to speak with Mr. Britton?
I've spoken with Mr. Britton, Your Honor. He was in Cobb County, so I wasn't able to speak with him yesterday.
Okay, and so you're prepared to go forward at the present time, is
Yes,
that right?
I have spoken to him today.
Okay, we got through Ms. Allen's presentation before realizing that a conflict was necessary. So I've already let him know what he's charged with. But Ms. Allen, for Ms. McLeod's benefit, would you go back through your presentation, please?
Yes, Your Honor. This is an incident at the jail on January the 31st. It's alleged that this defendant, along with 2 others, assaulted Mr. Turner, the victim in this case. This defendant in front of you is charged with striking him with hands, although one of his co-defendants did stab the victim. We're asking for a $2,500 surety bond and a requirement that he have no further violent contact with anyone at the Fulton County Jail, including staff and the victim, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. McLeod?
Your Honor, my client is 23 years old. I spoke with him and I also read the warrant. He denies that he was involved in this incident in the way that the state has presented. He said that the alleged victim was in his room and he asked him to leave. The alleged victim wanted to fight someone and he was telling him to get out of there, but he denies that he was the primary aggressor in any of this. He maintains that the alleged victim was the aggressor, Your Honor, and anything that he engaged in was just in defense of himself. I would ask the court to consider signature bond for my client. He tells me that he anticipates that he will be getting out of jail fairly soon on his other charge on which he was being held, Your Honor. He has a 2-year-old little girl that he's anxious to get back to and to his family. Nothing further, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 good bond, no further contact with the alleged victim, Mr. Turner, or anyone else in the Fulton County Jail. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Britton.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you, Judge, you can go to ACDC. After ACDC, come back to courtroom 2.
Okay, will do. Who do we have at ACDC?
Good afternoon, Judge Morrow. This is going to be Burnett.
Okay, good afternoon, Francois. And let's go. Can you spell the last name for me?
It's Burnett.
Oh, Burnett, okay.
She's
I don't
not,
have,
she's not on the calendar. She just, I was told she was supposed to be brought down for, what do they call that? Just basically, like a failure to appear for court. She's not really on the bond hearing calendar.
okay. Miss Bridgewater, Miss Grace, can you all tell me if something's changed? I've not been informed that we're,
Aware of any of that, Your Honor. All I go by is what's on the calendar. All
right.
these Me other as well, changes. Judge.
Say it again, Miss Grace.
I said me as well. This is the first we have hearing about it. Yes.
Sergeant, did I say something? No. Sergeant Glass,
Bridgewater.
courtroom 2 should be aware of it.
Okay,
Judge,
well,
I'm gonna contact Mr. Jordan.
okay, well, people can be aware of it, but if we're not aware of it, they're not on a calendar, we've not prepared for them, so I
That's
guess the
right.
best that we can do at this point in time is reset until tomorrow, to give everyone an opportunity to prepare. That's not something that,
Okay, I'm sorry, Judge Morrow.
okay,
Sergeant Glass, courtroom 2 should be aware of it because I was told to bring her down.
okay. Well, like I said, even if they are, even if the jail staff is aware, no, it doesn't appear that anyone else is aware.
Absolutely. And we go strictly by the calendar.
Okay, not a problem.
Okay, so, let's figure out what's going on with that and why that's going on and reset for tomorrow if necessary. Okay, courtroom 2,
All right, position 4.
okay. And this is Mr. Denton.
That's correct.
Yes. Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Denton. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000607F with battery. Is there a history?
Last arrest was in 1985. Burglary with assault or battery and grand theft.
Miss Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. One moment. This is an incident from February the 5th, 2025 at about 7:04 p.m. Police were called to 1000 Applewood Drive in Roswell. There they met with Mrs. Dennis. Jacqueline Dennis reports that she's been in a relationship with the defendant, and while she was at a memory care facility visiting someone that she cares for, an elderly woman named Patricia Tennille, who's got dementia, the defendant came to the location and assaulted her. She had a laceration on her left wrist, Mrs. Dennis. Police spoke to 2 different witnesses at the location, medical staff who assisted. They reported seeing the defendant following her to the bedroom of Mrs. Patricia, grabbing her by the arm and her wrist, struggling with her. The victim was able to flee, break free, and run to the entrance of the facility where she was assisted. The defendant told staff on scene and Officer Klatt that he did grab the victim, and he said he was trying to protect the elderly woman from her. So there's obviously some kind of dispute here, but we're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial and to stay away from Ms. Jacqueline Dennis and Mrs. Patricia. Her last name, I'll spell it for you. Tennille, Tennille. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and stay away from wherever either of those women may live.
Okay, if Ms. Dennis or Ms. Tennille, either on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. Okay, Mr. McLean, is this your case?
It is, Your Honor, we have no objection to the signature bond. On stayaways, I understand there may be litigation in probate court about guardianships and whatnot. So appropriate wording of there would be contact in a sense through the lawyers.
Is there an active case right now?
Not that I'm aware of.
Is your client related to Mrs. Tennille or Mrs. Jacqueline Dennis?
Not asked. I don't think so.
Then how would there be any kind of probate issue with him involved?
I have an opinion on that. That's
It's not an opinion. He's not related to either of these people.
the probate court matter if it's filed. So I'm not going to worry about that.
We would just ask, Your Honor, that his bond order include, if there's anything related to a probate matter or any order of superior court. Otherwise, there's no reason this gentleman should have contact with these folks.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with the alleged victims. Stay away from the Applewood Drive address. He is to abide by any either probate or superior court orders in regards to either of these alleged victims, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Denton.
Still at position 8.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Gates. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000598D with driving while your license was suspended or revoked, giving false information to law enforcement, window or windshield violation, and failure to change your address on your driver's license. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
13. What we got? On probation for meth, 23 SC 189-480, 2024 FTA, 2024 suspended license, 2016-2018 probation.
Okay, yes, good afternoon, Ms. McConkey.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident happened just yesterday. While running the defendant's tag for an insurance check, officers discovered that the registered owner had a suspended license for an FTA. They also noticed that the defendant had a spider crack on the front of his windshield, so they initiated a traffic stop, and the defendant gave officers the fake name of Tavares DeQuinn, and also gave a false date of birth of March 31st, 1986. The defendant told officers that he lied about his name because he knows that his license is suspended. The state is all right with a signature bond for this defendant. However, absolutely no driving without a valid license and the proper documentation, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Any objection to any of that, Ms. Kim?
No objection to signature on bond, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $500 signature bond through the jail on each charge, makes for a total of a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. No driving without a valid license, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Gates.
Next. All right, position 9.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Hardy. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000599A with 2 counts of forgery in the 4th degree and 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second, 2024 possession of marijuana.
McConkey?
Your Honor, this incident is also from yesterday. The defendant is accused of being in possession of 2 $1,000 checks made out to himself from the Lee law firm. The law firm confirmed that the checks were indeed fraudulent and the check numbers on them did not exist. They further told officers that there had been several fraud cases recently involving similar check templates. The defendant told officers that he was aware the checks were fraudulent in nature and that an unknown person had given them to him about 2 months ago. He told officers that he had not attempted to cash the checks and he was not planning on doing so. They also found marijuana in his possession when conducting a search. The state's recommendation for Mr. Hardy is a signature bond, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
How was he detained, Ms. McConkey?
Well, they pulled him over. He was the passenger in a vehicle. Then they smelt marijuana. They conducted a search. They found the checks in his book bag along with more marijuana.
Any objections to any of the state's requests?
We have no objection to a signature on bond, Your Honor, through jail. The search warrant was not there, and my client did not give any consent, but the search was done without his consent, and it was involuntary.
Let me take a look at the warrant again, because I feel like he told the officers they could look in his book bag.
We can litigate this at another time, Ms. McConkey. That's fine.
Okay.
It'll be $1,000 signature bond through the jail on each charge. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through the jail. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Hardy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position 14.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lovelace. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000591E with battery. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
What we got? Fourth arrest. Last arrest was on the 4th of this month. Suspended license. Went to the city jail for that. State. Psycho 2 has an arrest date of 10/11/2024 for simple battery.
I saw that.
Yeah, I know that's the date the warrant was signed, so I don't know what's going on with that. How did they even put that in the GCIC? So
I'm not sure what that's related to. I don't see anything. It's noted, but I don't have an argument based on that. I'm not going to use it for any reason because I'm not sure it's real.
yeah, that's all I got.
Your Honor, this is an incident from September 16th of 2024. Police report was made there at the Inman Park MARTA station. That's 1055 DeKalb Avenue. The victim is Grace Boras, Booras. She was there at the location. She got a phone call from someone that she used to be in a relationship with, asking her where she was. A person, actually the defendant driving his vehicle, showed up in the location with her ex-boyfriend, and 2 women got out of that car and assaulted her. This is captured on surveillance. It was investigated by MARTA police. And the defendant in front of you is the registered owner and driver of the vehicle that brought people to Inman Park to assault the victim, Grace Boras. She was punched and slammed on the ground. She had visible injuries to her arm and her left leg as a result of this behavior. So we're asking for, basically, this is a charge based on the theory of a party to the crime, Your Honor, and I believe it's stated in the accusation. We're asking for a $2,000 SOB, no contact with Mrs. Grace Boras, Booras, no drugs, alcohol, and weapons while on bond, and to stay away from wherever she may live or work. We tried to get in touch with her today. We were not successful yet, but we'll continue that effort.
Thank you. Any objection?
No, we do not have any objection, Your Honor.
It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. No further contact with Ms. Boras. Stay away from her residential address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, Ms. Grace?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you'll go ahead and call me, if I'm going to take everyone, I need to take a couple minutes break so I can deal with the issues that we have on these FTAs. So As soon as I speak with Ms. Grace, I'll be back with you.
Your Honor, we have not interviewed any of the.
I understand, Ms. Kim.
Thank you.
Hey, what was that contact? Just now, was it no further contact or no further
No
violence?
further contact. No further contact.
Cool.
No
Kim,
contact, and to stay away from where she lives or works.
okay. Kim, I sent you that email, that link.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
All right, thank you, everyone. Just so that courtroom 2 and ACDC understands that today we are only handling those cases that we already have on either our regular calendar or our add-on calendar. So we will not be hearing any FTAs on this calendar this afternoon. Okay, who do we have next?
Hey, Judge, I have a question. So, what about tomorrow?
You all are going to have to contact your supervisor, who's going to have to get in touch with Mr. Talley or Mr. Jordan and figure out what happens tomorrow. But normally we don't handle FTAs on this calendar.
Okay, because this week, this Sergeant Glanson who talking right now, this week we have received an email stated that we have to go back and grab the individual that's on buying over or FTAs. We were told from somebody in the records department, so I don't know where the records department received that information from.
Okay, so hopefully we'll be able to figure all that out before tomorrow's calendar, okay? So I understand there's one bind over that's already on this calendar that we're gonna handle today. But the FTAs, that are not on the calendar, we won't be handling, and hopefully you all can figure out what's going on before tomorrow, okay?
Hey, who is the bind over that you have?
I asked that same question. It's one, I don't know who it is.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, but apparently whoever it is already on the calendar, so. All right, so who do we have? Do you want me to stay in courtroom 2 here?
Yes, in front of you, position 15.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Simmons Taylor, you have been charged in case 25 CR 0000596A with 2 counts of simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Second, 2024 Cobb County DUI, driving without a valid license.
Mr. Allen?
Your Honor, this is an incident from August the 29th of 2024. Police were called at about 9:30 to 2878 Peak Road, Northwest. There it was discovered when they spoke to the victim, Devon Taylor, that's DEAVON, last name Taylor, same as the defendant, that during an argument there at the location between brothers, the defendant in front of you grabbed his brother and basically threw him down the stairs, grabbed him from behind around his neck, and argued he had to be, the altercation had to be intervened and interrupted by a third brother there on scene. The defendant then picked up their mother's ashes and dumped them all over the floor. We tried to get in touch with Mr. Taylor, the victim, today. We have not been successful yet. We're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. All I see is a DUI that may still be open from April of this past year. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, no contact with Mr. Devon Taylor, DEAVON, and to stay away from 2878 Peak Road, Northwest.
If Mr. Devon Taylor is on the line, wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Ms. Kim?
We have no objection to signature on bond, Your Honor.
Okay, as such, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 on each charge, make for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Taylor. If that, do they live to get at that Peak Road address, Ms. Kim?
Yes, yes, they
Okay.
do, but he has another place that he can go to.
Okay, so I'll allow him he's to stay away from the Peak Road address until this is resolved. He can have a one-time police escort to pick up or retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Simmons Taylor.
Thank you. All right, Judge, on the calendar, you got another simple battery.
Okay, so I've got two simple battery family violence. You telling me there's a third one?
No, just 2. So wait, is it 2 on each or 1 on each?
No, it's 2 on each, for a total of 4.
All right, got you.
Okay.
All right, let's see what's there. All right, next up gonna be the add-on, position 5.
Okay. And this is Ms. Watkins. Good afternoon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000615C with reckless conduct. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
13. Got an open obstruction, giving false name, false statements or writings, DUI, suspended license, possession of a firearm by convicted felon, a felony first offender. What else? We got probation, possession of cocaine, sale of marijuana. 2017 to 16 probation. That's all. Just drugs.
Ms. Allen?
And this is the reckless conduct case?
That's correct.
Your Honor, we filed an accusation in this case. I would, with all candor, state that there's some missing information. This is a warrant that popped up from 2023. The defendant had in his custody child that he shares with Dominique Donald, the juvenile with the initials KD. The defendant is alleged to have had custody of this child for about 4 months between April and June of 2023. And when the child was returned to the custody of his mother, he was seen to have burn marks on his body, as well as bruising and scratches and hair ripped from his head. We have gone ahead and filed the accusation. It's reported based on the warrant that the defendant was not cooperative with police, but the child was in his care, which is why this is just a reckless. We've made inquiries with DFACS and have reached out to the family to get some further information. So at this point, we're asking for a $2,000 surety bond, just based on the criminal history, no contact with Mrs. Dominique Donald or the child, initials KD, stay away from wherever they may live or work, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And obviously, if there are any superior court orders related to this family, to follow the orders that are in place already.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial level 3. They already broke up, and I believe the baby mother, the complaining witness, and the child moved to Louisiana. He's the 3 years old is the only child my client has with her. And my client has 3 children total. Your Honor, he has full custody over the other 2 children because he has proven to be a good father. He denies the allegation. He has a full-time job as assistant manager at merchandising place. He has been working there for 3 years, stable job. He completed his GED 2013. He resides with his mother and father, who are helping him to take care of 3 minor children, Your Honor. We do have a good phone number. He has been here in Georgia forever. We would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial. Thanks.
Okay, there will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 3. No further contact with the alleged victims. Stay away from their residential addresses. Follow any pre-existing custody orders. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you.
Right.
Welcome.
All right, add on position 3.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. McBride. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000612D with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Cannon.
McBride?
correct?
McBride,
said-
position 3 on the add-on.
Hold on.
Your Honor, Mr. McBride has
Okay.
an EKA. It's Glenn Vereen, Vereen. This case should be a transfer. We just haven't heard back from the DA's office yet. He has more than the required 3 prior shoplifting convictions. This incident is from February the 3rd at 11:30 p.m. He went into the beverage store there at that location and took a $34 bottle of liquor off the shelf and left the store without paying. He's on surveillance video doing that. When police reviewed the video, they immediately recognized the defendant because they have had so much contact with him. He is listed as homeless. He also is a convicted felon and has a substantial history. We would ask for a $2,000 cash bond, Your Honor, to stay away from that location, 4401 Fulton Industrial Boulevard Southwest. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond.
Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. McBride is 39 years old. He's lived in Georgia all his life. He has a GED education. He worked at a Chevron station for 2 or 3 years, most recently, and before that, he worked at UPS for some time. Not sure the duration, loading and unloading trucks. He has a Bakers Ferry Road address, and it is a house in which he lives with his brother and mother. and has a phone number. We would ask the court to consider as low a bond as possible. That includes asking for a signature bond. We understand that he does have a record.
Okay, it'll be $1,000 good bond. I want him to have a social worker visit to assess for BHET. Stay away from the incident location, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Hey, gotta stop talking. Okay.
Good luck to you, Mr. McBride.
Oh. Judge, you let ACDC go. They can do all their defendants, and you can come back to courtroom too.
Okay, will do. Thank you. I think Francois just. You ready for me, Francois?
Yes, I'm ready. Thank you, Judge.
Okay.
We can start with position number 17, Wilkins.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Wilkins. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000604H with 2 counts of simple battery family violence and 1 count of battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
5th adult, 2023 FTA, 2020 shoplifting, 2019 shoplifting conviction.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is a warrant that was issued back in August. This is an incident from the 29th of August, 2024. At about 12:24 p.m., police were called to 187 Lawton Street Southwest. There they met with the 2 victims, her mother, Carolyn Wilkins, and her brother, Durante, Derante Wilkins. It's reported that they all lived together and that the defendant assaulted mom and brother. An investigator with the domestic violence unit followed up and then took out warrants, Your Honor. Mom, Carolyn, reported that she tried to talk to her daughter about her boyfriend smoking on the porch, and that's when her daughter became upset. Mom went to her bedroom and the defendant followed her. Her son, Durante Wilkins, the other victim, tried to get between them. The defendant in front of you slapped her mother in the face and then punched her brother and ripped his hair. Her brother, Mr. Durante Wilkins, was seen to have a visible laceration on his upper lip. And corroborated that he'd been punched and that the defendant had pulled his hair. She'd fled from the location when police arrived and took the report. We did speak with both Carolyn and Durante today. At least he yelled from the background, "I ain't pressing no charges." And Mom said she just wants her daughter to understand that she's the parent and she would be here to attend. We're asking for, based on the history, Your Honor, a $3,000 surety to stay away from, or no violent contact, excuse me. We'd ask for anger awareness. And we'd like for you to hear from Mom, Mrs. Carolyn. Thank you.
Oh, Lord.
Ms. Wilkins, if you would like to address the court, I'm going to ask you to go and you need to put yourself a jacket on or something, cover your shoulder.
Okay.
Hello?
Okay, yes, ma'am. If you'll raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down, Ms. Wilkins. What would you like to tell the court?
I just wanted to tell the court that I'm not pursuing charges against her. It was just a disagreement. She actually is a good child. It's just her boyfriend, but her and her boyfriend not together anymore. And after that, she did come back to me and apologize. So I just
Okay.
want to tell the court that I don't want to pursue charges.
How old is your daughter?
She's 21. I mean,
she live?
24.
Okay, she lives with you?
No.
Okay. And you do want to be around her?
Yes, I want to be around her because I have her son. Her son stay with me.
Okay. All right, Ms. Wilkins, thank you for being here this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, thank you. Nadia Wilkins, about 23 roughly, and 11th grade education. She does have that prior arrest record that was mentioned. Your Honor, she has worked at the West End Church's Chicken as a cashier. She has also worked in the past at a Taco Bell, a Pita Pick restaurant, and a Means restaurant. And we would ask the court to consider, under these circumstances, as low a bond as possible. We would be asking the court to consider a signature bond.
Okay, for each of the simple batteries, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. That makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Carolyn or Mr. Durante Wilkins. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Judge, can you please repeat the bond? You said 4,000 what now?
Yeah, for each simple battery, it's 1,000, and for the battery, it's 2,000. So it makes for a total of 4,000.
SOB through pretrial?
Correct, yes, level 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Position number 19, why?
Okay.
I can go right.
Good afternoon, Ms. Wise. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000606F with criminal trespass. Is there a history?
January 24th, 2025, trespass is what I saw.
Okay. Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from February the 5th at about 10 a.m. Police responded to 2548 Bellevue Avenue Northwest. That is a vacant building, or there were multiple units vacant inside. Police responded and spoke to individuals there doing remodeling. They also spoke to the representative for the owner of the location, Mr. Thomas, that's Open Door Brokerage, who is the owner of the location. They reported that they'd come to the location to do work and the back door was open. They heard music coming from an upstairs unit that should have been vacant. They were concerned someone was inside. Police officers went inside and heard music coming from the same area. They went up and saw the defendant asleep on the floor inside a vacant apartment that she is not the rightful possessor of. She was awakened and she told police that she had entered the location because the door was open, that her landlord had put her out. Police saw that there was another open unit, and inside that unit, there were multiple personal items scattered around, and that information there led police to an ID on the floor for Dylan Taylor, whose belongings were included. So we're asking for a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial, no contact with Mr. Dylan Taylor or anyone else who is associated with this address. Stay away from 2548 Bellevue Avenue Northwest. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. McLean.
No objection.
All right, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Mr. Taylor. Stay away from the Bellevue Avenue address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Where does
Good
she
luck,
live?
Ms. Wise.
Where does she live?
Mr. McLean, do you have an address for your client?
She has an address at a unit. So because there's a unit with a letter, that must be a complex on Hall Street in 30318 zip code.
Okay.
Chat that to you.
All right, who do we have next?
Position number 6, Edwards.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Edwards. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000595G with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
Third, 2011 battery DV, trespass. 06, possession of marijuana.
Mr. McCarthy?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident is from yesterday at 195 Fairborn Road Northwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Ms. Sabrina Williams, who is the defendant's cousin. Officers went with the location and met with the defendant, who had a visible gash on her forehead. They noted the defendant was heavily intoxicated at the time, and she said the victim had hit her with a cane because the victim thought the defendant was going to hit her with a back scratcher. Officers then spoke with the victim, who stated that the defendant had been drinking for days since her mother passed away on the 31st. She said the defendant began to fight her unprovoked, and she sustained a bite mark and scratches to her chest, which officers observed. She then said the defendant picked up a walking cane and tried to hit her, so she hit the defendant with a cane in self-defense. Ms. Frida Coakley was at the incident location, and she was a witness to the incident and confirmed the victim's version of events. Our office has had a chance to speak with Ms. Williams, who states all the information in the warrant is correct. She states the defendant turns into a different person when she drinks, and it happens all the time when the defendant drinks. She states she wants no further violent contact because she is not afraid of the defendant. She states that she will not be present for the Zoom hearing because they are traveling for the funeral. The state's recommendation in this case is a signature bond for Ms. Edwards, no further violent contact with the victim, random screens for alcohol and drugs, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and maybe a day or two of anger awareness.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, we have, did she say you was a signature on bond, right?
Yes.
Okay, yes, we have no objection to signature on bond, pretrial level 1, Your Honor. As you can see, her forehead, it was my client who was actually victim of the incident. It was my client who was self-defending. Just because someone has a smell of alcohol, that does not mean that whole story can be totally twisted. We just wanted to make sure that it gets addressed. My client was the very victim of this incident. That's all, Your Honor.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Ms. Williams. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Edwards.
Thank you, Judge. And
Okay.
moving forward, Judge, I have a quick question. Moving forward, as far as what was your feedback, because I did step away from the Zoom as far as the failure to appear.
We're not going to address any of those on these calendars, on this calendar today. And you all need to get in touch with your supervisor to talk to Mr. Talley or Mr. Jordan in regards to what's going to happen tomorrow and in the future. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Courtroom 2.
All right, in front of you, position 2.
Okay. Mr. Callaway, good afternoon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000592Y with battery family violence and 2 counts of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
7, 2022 simple assault, simple battery. 2021 open alcohol. State, you know what the disposition is from that 2019 battery trespass? I couldn't tell.
No, I didn't see a disposition.
Okay.
Yes, Ms. McCarthy.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident happened on the 3rd at 1090 Calhoun Avenue in East Point. The victim in this case is Miss Jessica Foster. She states the parties were having a verbal argument when the defendant began poking her in the face and pushing her in the face. The defendant then punched her multiple times, pushed her to the ground, and began kicking her. Officers also spoke with one of the minor children, DF, who told them that she observed the defendant punching the victim multiple times while she was laying on the floor. The defendant was holding another minor child with the initials JC at the time of this incident. Our office has spoken with Ms. Foster, who states that the information in the warrant is correct, but she wants to have no further violent contact with the defendant because that's her man and he provides for the family. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond, that he undergo an FEIP or some anger awareness, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. I do understand that the victim does want to have contact, but the fact that this assault occurred in front of their children and also while he was holding a child is concerning. So we are going to ask for no further contact at this time. And I would just ask the court to sound for Ms. Foster in case she's on.
If Ms. Foster is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. I see you there, Ms. Foster. You'll need to unmute yourself for me.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, Ms. Foster. If you can raise your right hand for me.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
I would just like to tell the court that first off, that's my husband. That's not my man. That's my husband, and we have our times, but we truly love each other. And Jerison is a amazing guy, and he just sometimes he has problems dealing with alcoholism. But other than that, when he's not dealing with alcoholism, we are actually totally fine. And I hate that, that we can't have further contact because he does provide for our family. And he, at the end of the day, he is a hardworking man. And that's really all I have to say. He does provide, and he has issues with alcohol. And I feel like he does help with that. Because when he's not dealing with alcohol, we are totally fine, and we're a normal family.
How old are your children? Ms. Foster?
Starting with the oldest is 12. I have a 12-year-old, which is Dario Foster. I have a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, and I have a 1-year-old, and I just had a baby actually. Jerison and I just welcomed our new baby on the 5th of January. And she's only 1 month old.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your new baby. Ms. Foster, I'm mostly concerned about those children. Okay. You understand that cannot be a good environment to see them having their mother having to call officers on their father and having him to be placed in custody and taken to jail. So this must be very traumatic. So I understand that you say that this is an alcohol issue. I'm going to have him not have any alcohol. I'm also going to have him do something else in regards to alcohol. But I will allow him to return home since you tell me that he takes care of the children.
Yeah.
But if this happens, I'm mostly concerned about those children. Okay. All right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Your Honor, real quick, that battery and criminal trespass from 2019, that was dismissed for want of persecution, and it was a different victim in that case.
Thank you, Ms. McConkey. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 32 years old. I just don't feel comfortable about, I don't know if they are little minor children who's watching the video as well. But anyway, I don't think that they should be watching this either. Well, my client is very, very hard worker. After he got a high school diploma 2010, he has been working as a security company, a metal detector. He puts metal detector for different schools, Your Honor, and they are celebrating their first anniversary. They have been married for 1 year. We have no objection to signature on bond and no further violent contact. And that's all, Your Honor.
Okay. For the battery, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For each of the cruelty to children, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Makes for a total of a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. no further violent contact with Ms. Foster or any of the children. I want him to enroll in DVIP and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
Thank
All
you.
right. Good luck to you, Mr. Calloway.
Position 13, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Kilpatrick, good afternoon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000589Y with 2 counts of battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I don't have Kilpatrick. Hold on.
I have it, Your Honor. Mr. Kilpatrick was on the docket on February the 3rd and the 4th. This is a third case that has come through with the same victim, Linnell Berry. He just pled guilty in Clayton County to a felony drug case and is on first offender. That was from December the 19th, 2024, that disposition. He's got an open kidnapping case in Clayton County, an aggravated assault conviction in Clayton County, and failures to appear, as well as probation violations related to those. You heard about incident in September and an incident in November where it's alleged that the defendant assaulted the same victim, Mrs. Linnell Berry. They were living together for a period of time. He ripped braids from her head in September, and that case was dealt with in November at the same location, 2014 Plaza Lane Southwest. It's reported that he struck her in the face. She had bruising and lacerations. And then this case today, Your Honor, is actually from January the 18th in 2025. And so when we were in front of Your Honor on the 4th, and Mrs. Renika Robinson has been here now for the third time, the defendant reported that that's his current girlfriend and she is going to bond him out. They reported, the two of them, that the victim in all three of these cases had been criminally trespassed from the location and that he hadn't been in a relationship or been with her since these incidents, back in August that you heard about initially. So the state just wants to point out that this third case is actually from January 2025. So that's not possible that they hadn't been together or broken up. I don't see any information about this young woman, Linnell Berry, being criminally trespassed from any location. In fact, I see multiple calls to police with multiple documented injuries and a woman asking for assistance with housing for her and her child. So this incident from the 18th of January, police were called and her injuries were documented. She had a bloody nose and visible scratches on her face. She reported there at the same location, 2014 Plaza Lane Southwest, that the defendant was angry with her, came in the bedroom and accused her of going through his phone. He threw her to the ground, grabbed her by her face and punched her repeatedly. And then he pepper sprayed her in the face. She was able to flee to the gas station for help where her injuries were documented. And a warrant was obtained and the defendant was served with that warrant at the jail. So he now has 3 open cases of violence against the same woman from January 2025, September 2024, and November 2024, Your Honor. We're asking, in this case, there are 2 counts of battery family violence. We'd ask for $2,000 surety on each count. Have no contact with Mrs. Berry. Stay away from wherever she may live or work. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. Thank you.
And Ms. Allen, what was the issue? Why haven't, I know that this is the third time that I'm hearing this. Why weren't all these placed on the same calendar?
Warrants were served on the defendant after he appeared. So I'm going to guess that officers who had open cases as it relates to this victim saw that he'd been arrested and went ahead and served him with the warrants. So he got
Okay.
arrested on the first case, and then other warrants came in.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Darius Kilpatrick is 32. He has those cycles that were noted on Today and Other Days. He's a driver. He's driven various vehicles, bus driver, and he's also, I believe in the past, if I remember from meeting him on Monday, been a driver of other vehicles for other companies. So he's from Georgia all his life. And we would ask the court to consider a $1,000 total bond. That would be $500 on each count. We've asked the court to consider that as a signature bond if possible, but if not, a $1,000 surety bond.
Okay. For these charge, it'll be $1,000 good bond on each charge, makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Miss Berry. Stay away from her residential address and her work address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Kilpatrick. You as well, Miss Robinson.
Thank you.
All right, come on, position 16.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Voss. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000602B with battery, family violence, and hindering persons making an emergency telephone call. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
I heard 2024 entering auto, 2017 beer sold to a minor.
Miss Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from February the 5th at about 2:55 a.m. Police were called to 159 Walnut Street. The victim in this case, his name is Layla, Layla Aden, Aden. It's reported that she and the defendant live together and share a child, approximately 6 months of age. The victim was the 911 caller. She reported that while drinking there at home with the defendant, they argued about his phone and he shoved her down the stairs. She was seen to have a visible injury, abrasions to her leg. She reported to police that she tried to call 911 multiple times, but the defendant kept taking her phone from her and hanging it up. He had fled when police arrived and had taken her phone with him. Grady was dispatched to attend to her, and police left after taking that initial report. They were called a second time. The victim reported the defendant had returned and was throwing things around the residence, and she'd retreated to her bedroom. Police arrived and the defendant was detained. He made admissions to most of what the victim had spoken about, but claimed that he didn't push her down the stairs. We're asking for a $3,000 surety, Your Honor, to stay away from that location. Again, the address is 159 Walnut Street. Have no contact with Layla Aden or her child, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. We left a message with Ms. Aden today, but haven't heard back, and we'll continue those efforts. The 911 call does note that the defendant had taken the child, the 6-month-old, and was walking down the street with it while mom was on the phone with 911. Thank you.
If Miss Layla Aden is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Is this Miss Aden?
I am, yes, sir.
Yes, good afternoon, ma'am. Can you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you can place your hands down. What would you like to tell the court, Miss Aden?
He is our provider. He is a great father. We did have this incident. We normally don't have these incidents. I will not be there, so I don't think that he should not report to the location. That is a house that he provides for. I do have a family house out here that I'm able to live in. That's where I'm at. But yeah, he is a hard worker. He does have a full-time job, and he does love his son and loves me. So it was just a small incident and unfortunate that it has to come to these circumstances.
Okay. Let's see, has this happened before, ma'am?
No, he's never pushed me down the stairs or anything of that sort.
Okay, and you're saying that you want him to go back, to be able to go back to the Walnut Street address? You're not at that address any longer?
Correct. He can, yeah, that is his house, so he can stay there. He's able to report there and be there.
Okay, and as far as you in contact with him, you don't want any contact with him at the present time?
We do have a 6-month-old. I don't think we should not have any contact. I'm fine with having contact. Like I said, this is the first incident when it comes to this. It's unfortunate that it came to this, but no, I would like to have some contact if possible.
Okay. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Aiden. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, thank you. For 4 or 5 years, Mr. Voss has been in Georgia. He's from Tennessee, originally Memphis. He went to Tennessee State University in Nashville and obtained a Bachelor of Arts in Business Administration with a minor in Information Technology. He is an assistant manager of one of the telephone company's retail stores and has been so for over 5 years. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond under these circumstances with appropriate conditions. Thank you.
Your Honor, if I might inquire of the victim just briefly. Mrs. Aiden,
Are you still there?
Yes, ma'am.
did
Yes, Your Honor.
did you get any calls from our office this morning?
So my phone is not working. I let them know that my phone was currently not working.
What's wrong with your phone?
It's currently off. So I don't have cellular. I have a Wi-Fi, but you can't make any calls.
So was the phone damaged during this incident?
Phone is not damaged, no.
You're just not
I don't
using
have
it?
cellular data. I just have Wi-Fi on the phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you tell the court about the injuries that you sustained on the stairs?
I have scratches, I guess scrapes on my knee and closer to my ankle.
And where was your child when this incident occurred?
He was asleep downstairs.
Okay.
Mhm.
And are you from Georgia or Tennessee?
No, Georgia.
Okay. And how long have you been in a relationship with this young man?
It's about be 2 years, a year and a half now.
Are you guys married?
We're not married, no.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. Those are all the questions I have.
Okay.
The defendant does have an open entering auto, 24 PI 009383, and he's out on bond. His bond was issued December the 24th of 2024 in Superior Court. He's got a $2,500 good bond.
Okay. All right, for the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. For the hindering person making an emergency phone call, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. 1-day anger awareness. At this point in time, no contact with Miss Aiden. He can go back to the Walnut Street address. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. He can go back to that address as long as Miss Aiden is not at that address.
What's the
Good luck
total?
to you. Oh, is a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Okay. Who do we have next?
Jerido? Yeah, Jerido?
Say it again for me.
Jerido.
Jared.
He has a purge amount on his charge.
There is a defendant who was arrested on a abandonment case, and that comes with a bond, and we have not and will not be filing an accusation today, Your Honor. So once he pays his purge amount as part of his bond, he'll be released on a magistrate court case.
Okay, and you can get Mr. McClain. Mr. McClain, is this your client?
Yes, Your Honor. Not sure about the calendar categories. I went ahead and talked to him, got his address. I got 3 phone numbers of various relatives who can help him raise the $500, hopefully. And I know I could tell the court where he's from and what he, basically he's from Jacksonville, Florida, but he's been in Georgia. That's next door. So he's been here 3 years and intends to raise the 500 ASAP.
And it is $500, Miss Allen, the purge amount?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, does Miss Bridgewater need any paperwork?
Yeah, I have him, he's not on my calendar, so I would need something.
He's got a bond. It's written on the court order from.
That may
abandonment.
very well be true, but if he's not on my calendar, I go
So
strictly.
you don't need
by-
anything.
Your Honor, how do you want to address this?
I'm just.
Courtroom, what do you all, do you all have what you need, for him to be released if he makes that purge amount?
Yes.
Okay, all right, then, Mr. McLean, once you keep track of it to make sure that he's released when he raises those funds.
Right.
Okay?
You know, just in the,
Good luck
I'm
to you,
just
sir.
of being
Thank you.
information for them. Thank you.
All right, position 11.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Henderson. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000601C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
2016 driving without a valid license, 2012 shoplifting, 06 simple battery false imprisonment. That's it.
Okay, Ms. McConkey?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident happened yesterday, 1118 Richland Road Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Lauren Henderson, who lives with the defendant at the location. The defendant is accused of striking the victim in the head with a bamboo stick, leaving a discolored wound on the victim's head. The defendant told officers that he hit the victim with the bamboo stick a couple of times because the victim allegedly threw a bottle of bleach at his head. Our office has reached out to Lauren Henderson and have not been able to make contact as of yet. The state's recommendation is a signature bond, no further contact with the victim, stay away from the incident location, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond, and I would just ask the court to sound for Lauren Henderson.
Ms. Henderson is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Ms. Kim?
Yes, we do not have any objection to signature on bond. Your Honor, only one concern that I have is the complaining witness is his little brother who had a stroke not that long ago. So because of that, my client has been a caregiver for him. And after stroke, he does have sometimes psychotic incidents here and there. So without my client's help, he may have a very hard time to move around or to go to doctor's appointment and things like that. So for the sake of my complaining witness, I think it might be wiser to have a note for the violent contact, Your Honor.
So you're telling me that Lauren Henderson is who to George
A
Henderson?
little brother,
And when
44
you say-
years old. Yeah, 5 years younger brother.
And what's the incident location?
1118 Richland Road. He doesn't have to live there, but he still has to go and take him to the doctor's appointment and things like that, physical therapy.
Does anybody else live at the Richland Road address?
There was another roommate, but he's not a caregiver. It's a third person stranger.
Okay, and there's no other family that can assist Mr. Lauren?
Their mother passed away from cancer, so no other family members. My client is okay not to have any contact, but I think it will be very detrimental to the complaining witness.
Well, if you're asking me to have him take him to doctor's appointments and things of that nature, then he necessarily would have to have contact.
Yes.
Ms. McConkey?
We have not spoken to the victim, so we have no way of confirming this, but I do find it concerning that if his brother did have a stroke and he's aware that, some of the symptoms are that he may behave differently, that his response to that behavior is hitting him with a bamboo stick, causing bruises to his head.
Okay. So it's going to be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. Until someone talks with Mr. Henderson to get his wishes, there's to be no further contact. And he's to stay away from the Richland Road address. He can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Ms. Kim, if you do get up with Mr. Lauren Henderson and his wishes are different, then the bond can always be modified.
Sure. Mr. George Henderson, you have a right to remain silent. We can modify the bond later if it's necessary.
Okay, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, add on position 4.
Okay, I'm told that this one was the bind over. Good afternoon, Mr. Padillo. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000616H with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
You can ask the state. I don't have it.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
so-
Not a problem. What I see is that this defendant has an arrest from October of 2024 from Union City for criminal trespass, which is what he's here on the docket for again today. He has $1,000 bond that was issued by Union City. On January the 20th, police responded to the quick trip at 4745 State Route 138. The clerk there at the location reported that the defendant was locked inside the restroom and refusing to leave. That he requested that police help and that a criminal trespass order be given. Police made contact with the defendant in front of you, asked him to leave, gave him a criminal trespass order, and told him he could not return. He returned the next day, January the 21st. Police saw him enter the parking lot and then walk into the location. They made contact with him standing at the counter with the clerk when they asked him, hey, do you remember we talked yesterday and you're not supposed to come back here? Initially, Mr. Padillo ignored police, but then said, I'm just trying to buy a cigarette. And he was detained, Your Honor. So the $1,000 surety bond is what should stay in place as far as the state's concerned. We'd ask that his bond order be amended to include stay away from that location, the quick trip 4745 State Route 138 in Union City, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and we'd request a social worker visit.
Mr. McLean?
I'm sorry, this was who again?
Position 4 on the add-on, Padillo.
No, I didn't have him that I know of. If I did and didn't interview him, I apologize. But
Okay.
we could talk to him real quickly if that's assigned to me.
I didn't have him either. Sorry.
Okay, no, apparently these cases there's been some confusion today. So can we, courtroom 2, well, let me first ask, who has you both have waivers, Ms. Kim and Mr. McLean?
Yes, I do. I have
Okay, so
three waivers.
Mr. McLean, while you speak with Mr. Padillo, Leo, we'll do Ms. Kim's waivers, okay?
Very good.
So courtroom 2, can you either call Mr. McLean or have Mr. McLean call the court? And I take it that that's everyone except for the waivers.
Right. I only have one waiver, DeMarcus Jackson.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I think they're making him available, Mr. McLean. Position number 3 is a waiver, it's my understanding, Homer Cannon. Is that your case, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Cannon is charged in case 25 CR 0000593G with possession and use of drug-related objects and theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
51. You got an open case, theft by taking. Financial transaction card, theft and fraud, suspended license, open container. He got a bench warrant out of Judge Whitaker. So, a couple of shopliftings from 2023.
Cocky?
Your Honor, this incident happened on the 4th at the Family Dollar located at 3310 Dogwood Drive in Hapeville. The defendant is accused of stealing various items from the incident location and concealing them inside a red bag. Officers found him sitting at the MARTA bus stop with the items that the employee at the location had said that he's stolen. Those items were, in fact, in the red bag. Upon searching the defendant, they also found what they believe to be a clear meth pipe. The state's recommendation for this defendant is a $1,000 surety bond. Stay away from that Family Dollar. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. What was the recommendation again? I kind of missed it.
$1,000 good bond.
Okay, Your Honor, he has no way to pay for that. We would like to request for a signature on bond through pretrial level 3 because of FTA. I don't think he can be released anytime soon anyway. He has a very, very serious medical condition. I don't know if the jail is willing to accommodate his chemotherapy. So he has to be released for his medical reasons, Your Honor. He does have housing and he has a phone number. He resides with his mother and I don't think he's a flight risk, Your Honor. He has 2 adult children after completing GED. He was not able to work because of his disability for the last couple of years. He's fighting with his medical conditions right now.
Okay, I'm going to have a social worker visit him to confirm all that you tell me, Ms. Kim. Until that time, it's going to be a $500 good bond per charge, makes for a total of $1,000 good bond. Social worker visit to confirm his health issues. Stay away from the Family Dollar on Dogwood Drive and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe the next one in line is position number 5, Calvin Drake. That's your case as well, Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Drake was charged in case 25 CR 0000594Y with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
He got over 40. On probation, Elbert County, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, a felony first offender. 2024 probation, 2020 ag assault strangulation, DV, hindering 911 call conviction. 2019 battery disorderly conduct conviction. 2010 robbery by intimidation conviction.
Thank you, Ms. McConkey.
Yes, Your Honor. The incident occurred on the 29th at 1756 Stokes Avenue Southwest in Atlanta. The victim in this case is Rotanza Phillips. The defendant had been living with her since December of 2024. The parties were having a verbal dispute because the defendant was refusing to leave the residence, and the defendant struck the victim in the face with an open hand strike, and she ran outside to her car to call the police. Officers did view footage on the victim's phone where you can see the defendant strike her, and she then pushes him away in self-defense. He falls to the ground and she runs outside. Officers also noted that the defendant had a laceration on his side, which he said he could not remember how he got it, but they did note that there was a damaged glass jar near the location where the victim fell where the defendant fell after the victim had to push him away because he slapped her in the face. The defendant was taken to Grady. That 2020 aggravated assault, strangulation, and hindering persons making an emergency call involved the same victim as this case today. Our office has spoken with Ms. Phillips, who states that the information in the warrant is correct. She states that she wants no further contact with the defendant. There's no need for a one-time escort to the house because she has taken all of his items to his mother's home. She states that there has been violence in the past. Sorry, I was just looking over my notes. The state's recommendation is a $1,500 surety bond, no further contact with the victim in this case, Ms. Phillips, stay away from the incident location, anger awareness or an FVIP, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond. And I see Ms. Phillips on the Zoom, so I would just ask the court to sound for her.
Ms. Phillips, if you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. You certainly don't have to, but if you would like to, you'll have to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in. Appears that Ms. Phillips would not like to address the court this afternoon. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 54 years old. Actually, since he moved out from that location, one incident location, he has been homeless. So I am asking social worker to have a visit and also do some BHET, Your Honor. He said that he was shot on March 2024, and ever since then he became disabled, so he was not able to work and he has no income at all. He does have two minor children, he says, 10 months, and there's another one that is on the way. Your Honor, he claims that he was stabbed 4 times by a complaining witness. He does have a stab wound on his right hand right now. That's what he claims. And he does not need one-time law enforcement officer escorted visit. They don't have any children. They broke up. So we have no other objection in terms of stay away and no further contact. We would like to request for signature on bond through pretrial level 2.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 good bond, no further contact with Ms. Phillips. Stay away from the Stokes Avenue address, social worker visit for BHET, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay, the next in line, I believe is position number 7, Funkhauser. Is that your case as well, Ms.
Yes,
Kim?
Your Honor. Yes.
Ms. Funkhauser is charged in case 25 CR 0000597C with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Mr.
Yeah.
Howard?
He got over 80.
Okay. Ms. McConkey?
Your Honor, this incident happened at 2/5/25. Sorry, this incident happened February 5th, 2025. The incident location is 3730 Carmia Drive, Southwest in Atlanta. It looks like that's a Wellstar Urgent Care Center. The defendant is accused of trespassing at the location after previously receiving a criminal trespass warning from there. If the court is inclined to give him a signature bond, we wouldn't necessarily object to that. Stay away from that incident location except for medical necessity, no drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
We have no objection to signature on bond, Your Honor.
Let's see. Does he have an issue, Ms. Kim?
I think so, Your Honor. MH.
Okay, then
Okay.
maybe not
yeah,
a signature bond.
Right. So I want him, I'll take a look at this again, but I want him to at least see a social worker to assess. He'll be on the February 20th SAP calendar. So that's not my calendar, but if you'll report back to the judge at that time, it'll be $1,000 good bond. A social worker visit to assess for if he needs an MHET. Stay away from a Wellstar on Camilla Drive unless he's seeking medical attention. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Is that those are all of your waivers?
Yes.
Is that right?
That's all.
Mr. McLean, are you still talking with Mr. Padilio? Make it that he is.
It does look like he's talking.
Okay, we'll be in recess, I guess, until Mr. McLean is ready for us. Okay, Mr. McLean, are we ready to proceed on Mr. Padilla?
I am. I think Mr. Padilla would probably like a little more information, but I was telling him realistically that we should probably go forward today unless he wants to put it off till tomorrow.
What additional information does he need? I mean, it's a criminal trespass where he's asked to stay away from the quick trip on the state route.
Right, just getting his dad to participate in today's hearing, but I tried to call him and there's no answer yet. It went to voicemail. So I think we should go forward if Mr. Padillo agrees. Mr. Padillo, you okay with going forward today?
You have to unmute courtroom too. We can't hear him. Ask your question again, Mr. McLean.
Mr. Padillo, shall we go forward today? If you want to put it off to tomorrow, that is a permissible question, certainly, and I'll certainly try to get your dad on for tomorrow, but today it went to voicemail, so do you want to do it today?
To the judge, Your Honor, Eric Morrow, right? So obviously the conversation we just had was, I think I want to say, was severely malnourished. But to be honest with you, would it be suggested that the information in regards to overturning this process, how would that process work in regards to receiving my money back, if not being able to pay that signature bond if I was to use the signature bond today? Just so
I got the impression about winning on the merits, and that would be a jury trial, and that's months and months away.
You know what? Let's go ahead and get that signature out the way. I can figure this out since.
Let's go ahead and ask, certainly.
Let's go ahead and do this.
Thank you.
Okay, so do you need anything? You want to tell me anything further, Mr. McLean?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Padillo's 28. He's an honorably discharged veteran of the United States Armed Forces, educated high school education, the clerk's file, that is to say Odyssey, the Lawrenceville address shown in Odyssey is a stable mailing address, and his father is supportive of him. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond on this and send that mail and ask him to come to court on time and let it go that way. Thank you.
Okay, so Mr. Padillo, I am going to give you a signature bond, okay? So you don't have to pay anything to get out, okay? So it's going to be $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 2. You have to stay away from that quick trip. You can't go back there. And no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. All right. Good luck to you, sir. You're welcome. Okay, Mr. McLean, I think the final case on the calendar is yours. It's a waiver for Mr. DeMarcus Jackson, who's charged in case 25 CR 0000603A with public indecency. Is there a history, Mr. Howard?
20. Got an open trespass in state court. 25 CR 000-496A. Open shoplifting from 2022, 2023 FTA, 2018 FTA, 2017 trespass NOLO, 2016 theft of services conviction, 2015 shoplifting NOLO, 2014 theft by deception conviction, and a 2013 obstruction conviction.
Thank you. Ms. McConkey?
Your Honor, this incident happened at 6005 Glen Ridge Drive in Sandy Springs. The defendant is accused of pulling down his pants in a public park and urinating in front of a group of children. The state's recommendation for Mr. Jackson, given the facts of this case, as well as his history, is a $1,500 surety bond. Stay away from that incident location. No drugs, weapons, or alcohol while out on bond.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, currently we do not have an address, but we did ask him several questions. Your Honor, I don't have the information right now on phone or address. We would ask the court to consider under the circumstances an appropriate bond.
Ms. McCockey, do you have the bond order on that criminal trespass that's open? And I believe that's with us.
I'll go grab it, Your Honor.
Thank you. I'm interested to know if it was me and if the social worker visit was requested at that time.
Very, very possibly. I do intend to have a social worker request in myself.
Okay.
You got a SOB jail. It was judge law.
Oh,
Okay.
thank
Stay
you, Mr.
away
Wright.
from 3116 Peachtree Road, Bank of America.
Okay, so in this case, I want to have a social worker visit. Obviously, something's going on with them. So it'll be $1,000 good bond. Stay away from that Glenwood Drive address, social worker visit, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay. And since I have all you all here right now, there was a case that we had last week or so. It was a young man who was 17 years old. We were trying to get in touch with his family. The mother, there was a 15-year-old that he was allegedly having.
Got it, Mr. Green.
Right. Yeah, yes, exactly. I pushed him up an entire week to be on my SAP calendar so that we could start to track someone down to help this young man. The mother also appeared at that time, but nothing had gotten to that young man had just been sitting in jail with nobody attending to him after I specifically asked for someone to make sure that you looked into it and passed it on to the SAP attorneys. So because no one even put a note in the file, that young man had to sit there, and when he got to SAP, nothing had been done, and we had to start from scratch. So when I asked for a social worker visit, I'm trying to get your clients, if they don't belong in custody, I'm trying to get them out as quickly as possible, but you all have to help me do that, okay? So make sure you at least put a note in the file so that when they go back, if you do, and on those types of cases where it's a young person that's involved specifically, please make sure that you do more than just put a note in the file. Get with somebody to say, that we're trying to help this young man. Okay, it doesn't behoove you all to have your clients just sitting there. And it's, so I don't mean to chastise anyone. I just want to make sure that when we have these social worker visits or when we have special things, especially when I push it up to be on my calendar, I want to move those cases forward. So if you all will help me do that, I'd appreciate it. Okay.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you. So I believe that completes the calendar, Ms. Bridgewater, when you're ready for me.
Okay. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is February the 20th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 2 is reset further notice with a total $5,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 3, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. 4, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 5, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. 6, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 7, SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 8 is reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. 9 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through the jail. 10 is reset till tomorrow due to behavior. 11, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. 14, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 15, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 16, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 17, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 18, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial with a co-signer of Denise Wilson. 19 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Now to the add-on calendar. Position 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. Position 2, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Position 4, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. And position 5, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you all. We will see you next time. Have a good rest of your day.
Okay, take
Thank you,
care.
guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank